Breaking news for Arsenal supporters. Mikel Arteta is reportedly ready to make a massive £130 million push for Julian Alvarez as Arsenal intensify their pursuit of the Atletico Madrid superstar, with the summer transfer deadline rapidly approaching. This could be the moment Arsenal finally decide to go all in. Reports emerging today indicate that Arsenal are preparing a huge offer for Alvarez, while Atletico Madrid are believed to be willing to consider a deal in the region of £128 million to £130 million. But there is one enormous problem. Julian Alvarez still has to say yes, and that is what makes this transfer saga so fascinating. Alvarez has been strongly linked with Barcelona, while Atletico have made it clear that they do not want to make the situation easy. But Arsenal now appear ready to put serious money on the table. And if that happens, Arteta could be preparing one of the biggest attacking moves in Arsenal's recent history. Think about the message this would send. Arsenal would not be making a small gamble. They would be putting approximately £130 million behind one player. That would demonstrate just how strongly Arteta and Arsenal's recruitment team believe Alvarez can transform their attack. And there is a reason for that confidence. Alvarez is not simply a traditional number 9. He can drop deeper, he can combine with midfielders, he can create chances, he can attack space, and he can operate in several attacking positions. For Arteta, that versatility could be extremely important. Imagine Alvarez playing in front of Martin Odegaard, with Bukayo Saka providing width and Arsenal's other attackers rotating around him. Suddenly, Arsenal would have another player capable of creating something when a match becomes difficult. And that could be the difference between challenging for trophies and actually winning them. This is where Arsenal fans will have another huge debate. Victor Gyökeres is already at the club. He provides physical strength, penalty box presence, and a direct threat. Alvarez offers a different profile. He is more involved in combination play and can contribute creatively as well as scoring. Some reports have even discussed the possibility of Arsenal exploring a player plus cash structure involving Gyökeres. But Arsenal supporters should not automatically assume Gyökeres will be part of any deal. The important point is that Arteta is exploring ways to make the Alvarez move possible. And if Arsenal really are prepared to spend around £130 million, this story is no longer just another transfer rumour. This is becoming a serious late window situation. There is one person who could have more influence over this transfer than anyone else. Julian Alvarez. Arsenal can negotiate with Atletico, Arsenal can discuss the fee, Arsenal can prepare the contract, but ultimately Alvarez has to want the move. Reports have suggested that Barcelona remains his preferred destination, although Arsenal are increasingly viewed as a realistic alternative. That is why the next few days could be crucial. If Alvarez opens the door to Arsenal, everything could accelerate incredibly quickly. If he refuses, Arsenal could suddenly find themselves needing another striker target. And that is why Arteta cannot afford to wait forever. There is another Arsenal transfer story connected to this. Gabriel Martinelli, the Brazilian winger, has been linked with a potential departure. And reports indicate Arsenal are working on a possible deal with Al Hilal. If Martinelli leaves, Arsenal would have another reason to strengthen the attack, and that could make the Alvarez situation even more important. The Gunners could potentially lose an established attacker and replace that attacking quality with one of Europe's biggest stars. For Arsenal fans, this is where the transfer window becomes fascinating. Is Martinelli leaving because Arsenal already have another attacking plan? Or is his departure simply allowing Arsenal to create financial space for a huge final signing? From Atletico's perspective, this is not an easy decision either. Alvarez is one of their most important players. They signed him from Manchester City for a huge fee, and they expected him to become a central figure in their project. But the current transfer situation has created significant tension. Atletico have reportedly been reluctant to sell him, particularly to Barcelona. That could make Arsenal a more attractive option for the Spanish club. A massive offer from England could give Atletico a way out of an increasingly complicated situation, but they will want maximum value, and that is why the reported £130 million figure is so important. Now let's talk about the biggest question. Is Julian Alvarez worth £130 million? Some Arsenal supporters will say absolutely. Others will argue that the money is simply too much. And both sides have a point. Alvarez has the quality, he has experience at the highest level, he has played for Manchester City and Atletico Madrid, he has won major trophies, he understands pressure. But £130 million is an enormous investment. Arsenal would need Alvarez to become a transformational player, not simply a good signing, not simply another squad option, a player who changes the level of the team. That is the expectation that comes with a fee like this. So here is where we stand. Arsenal are reportedly preparing a £130 million push for Julian Alvarez. Atletico Madrid are believed to be looking for a huge fee in that region. Alvarez's preference for Barcelona remains an important part of the story, but Arsenal are still pushing, and Arteta appears determined to find a way to strengthen his attack before the deadline. If Arsenal actually put £130 million on the table and Alvarez says yes, we could be looking at one of the biggest Premier League transfers of the summer. So Arsenal fans, we want your opinion. Would you spend £130 million on Julian Alvarez? Would you sell Martinelli to help fund the deal? And most importantly, would Alvarez make Arsenal genuine Premier League and Champions League favourites? Drop your opinion in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share this video with another Arsenal fan, because with the transfer deadline approaching, Arsenal may be preparing one final blockbuster move.